Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing whether or not the DTV, the so-called Destination Thailand visa, is truly valid for 5 years. I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from the Pattaya Mail, that's pattayamail.com. Article is titled, Thailand's Medical Insurance Rules for Foreigners Are a Muddle. Quoting directly, there is now a visa valid for 5 years known as Destination Visa Thailand. I think they meant Destination Thailand Visa, which is technically a tourist permit, but probably does not qualify for free accident cover as it offers an initial stay of 180 days. Well, okay, let's be real clear. Going back to, there is now a visa valid for 5 years. Maybe. As we've discussed in other videos, Ministry of Foreign Affairs came up with this whole plan. Ministry of Interior has been totally silent on the Destination Thailand visa to date. Ministry of Foreign Affairs has said a number of things that turned out to be completely erroneous. One of them was it could be extended in country. That's gone away. The second one was it had some sort of inherent work authorization. That's not true. Although they have noted that they've lightened up on the issue of, you know, you're working remotely. So you have to get on a phone or get on emails and deal with somebody abroad. That has been mitigated a little bit just across the board, which is actually kind of a good thing because I didn't ever like talking to people about, you know, like the retirement visa, and they say, hey, every once in a while, I have to send emails or I work remotely with the company I'm a consultant for that I retired from, et cetera, et cetera. And I'd say, well, technically you need a work permit to do that in Thailand. Lightening up on that, I actually tended to agree with. I think it's good for everybody. But again, that doesn't mean you're work authorized in Thailand. It was talked about as if you were, not really. Point I'm trying to make here, these Destination Thailand visas look a lot like what we used to call the one-year non-immigrant visas. I used to get a lot of people these, especially in the B category. You could get them, generally speaking, through the honorary consulates abroad. They were one-year validity, but you only got 90 days of status at each entry. So you had the visa sticker in your passport, it had the one-year validity, and then you got 90 days at each entry. As I've said in other videos, back then, that wasn't a big deal because immigration would look at that and they would say, you're only being admitted for 90 days, and it's the total time frame is a year on the sticker. Now, MFA has just unilaterally decided to create this Destination Thailand visa, which has a 5-year validity with 180 days at each entry. But again, immigration is ultimately going to be the one to decide if people can re-enter. I'm here to tell you, immigration policy for the past decade has been one of, hey, if you're not getting a work permit and paying taxes in Thailand, we don't want you living here. You know, that's been clear. They did a crackdown on people that were living here using tourist visas about 8-10 years ago. In fact, it was right before it was going into 2014, so it was actually under the old Yingluck government that I remember this starting. So for those who say, oh, it was just the military government, no, a lot of things in immigration started under Yingluck that were then carried on in the later administration. That being said, and the point I'm trying to make in this video is, look, it's immigration's mandate that folks who are true tourists not be living in Thailand. That operates in contravention with this notion of the DTV. And then meanwhile, when we're talking about the Interior Minister hasn't said a word about how these DTVs are going to be treated, and meanwhile the Ministry of Foreign Affairs talks about all kinds of things that they really have no authority over, I fail to see where it is prudent to presume that these are going to operate in exactly the way people think they are. The author of this Pattaya Mail article, Mr. Kenyon, I was actually talking to him in person some weeks back, and we were talking about the fact we seem to be the only two people on the same frequency regarding how the DTV is going to play out, because a lot of people seem to have a problem with our opinion that, hey, this is not a foregone conclusion. You're just going to get this 5 years and everything's going to be hunky-dory. It looks to me like this was a political expedient. Creating this visa got a bunch of people to come into Thailand, which is probably going to jack up the numbers in terms of tourists coming in for the high season, which politically that benefits anybody who can take credit for that. But again, I'm not convinced that they really care about the back end of this thing. And when immigration, specifically under the auspices of Interior, in the form of their border security checkpoint people, as well as people here in the country that enforce immigration policy, I'm not convinced that they're just going to roll along with this whole policy without having their own say in how this is actually going to operate, and their own say may result in this being a far more cumbersome visa than has been originally advertised.